Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I wanted to do something a little bit different. I thought I would compare the Alfa Romeo 155 from both Gran Turismo 7 and Grid Legends. Obviously I know they are two different sort of specs of the car, one being the DTM version from Gran Turismo 7 and one being the BTCC version from Grid Legends, but they are both based on the same car model, that being the Alfa Romeo 155. And this is probably one of the only chances we get to sort of try both different specs of the same car, which I think gives a really cool comparison. Obviously both games will be shown at Bathhurst or Mount Panorama, whichever you like to call it. For me personally it's Bathhurst. So let's get into it. So the model you're seeing on screen is the DTM model, which features in Gran Turismo 7. It's been in all Gran Turismos, I think, since Gran Turismo 2, bar a few exceptions, I believe. It's a very well-known car in the franchise, and as you can see just from the gameplay on screen, both the model of the car and track are very, very good looking. And for me, if you were going to show a game off for the PlayStation 5, just to show what graphics it can really do, Gran Turismo 7 would definitely be it. As you can see, this is the cockpit view, which is very dynamic. It does move around quite a bit over the bumps and the curbs, and the detail in general is very good. But I mean, that goes for pretty much all the Gran Turismo 7 interiors. The majority of them look very good throughout the game. So this is the part where I'm going to let you listen to the car itself, so you can get a hint of what the sort of sound design in Gran Turismo 7 is like. I will obviously do the same when it comes to Grid Legends. So here is the sound itself of the car. Let me know what you think. So I've seen quite a few people, complain about the sound of this car, although for me it's not perfect. It still does sound very good. But let's be honest, Gran Turismo is not exactly known for its sound design in general. But yeah, that is the Gran Turismo 7, version, the DTM model. A very good looking model. I can't really complain, and the track does look very clean and good looking. So let's get on to Grid Legends. So like I mentioned, the model in Grid Legends is a BTCC car, which again in the early to mid 90s was very successful. One thing you are going to notice is it's a lot less extreme than the DTM version. This is a different spec of the car. I believe these are spec 2 touring cars, because I think the DTM ones at the time were spec 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as you will notice, another thing you will really notice is the car model itself isn't as sort of detailed as the Gran Turismo version, but when it comes to the track itself, it looks a lot more used, a lot more lived in, even though it looks quite a bit washed out. Maybe that's the way it looks in real life. I haven't been there myself to Bathhurst, so if anyone is from Bathhurst, you tell me which track looks more closest to real life. For me, I like the way that it looks in Grid Legends. It looks a lot more like it's been raced on and raced on hard, and you've got the spectators, which are a lot more, for me, visible, because they are really close to the track. Obviously you've got the fireworks going off, which is a bit unrealistic, but it sort of suits the style of the game itself. But yeah, I mean, I really do like this version of Bathhurst, even though for me the car model and the graphics in general aren't as good as Gran Turismo. The way the track looks just looks a lot better. It's done away with that clean look and gone for a more gritty, sort of realistic raced on look, which you would see at majority of tracks. If you've ever watched, been to watch cars race for a day, you'll sort of see how race on the track looks come the end of the day. So the interior view, for me this is probably a weak side of Grid, although yes, it still looks very good. A lot of the interior looks very plasticky, no matter what it is. So even the carbon fiber looks quite plasticky. But it is still very detailed, and for me the FOV slider that we have in Grid Legends is much better than the one we have in Gran Turismo 7. But yeah, I mean overall, I mean the reflections are pretty cool on the windscreen, and the detail in general is good. But for me, it just looks a bit too plasticky. And like I said, I mean that's a bit across the board. No matter what material is in the car, it just seems to look quite plasticky. But yeah, I mean it is a good interior view. So for me, this is the big weak point for Grid. Basically, the replay camera, I don't know if you guys might notice it, but for me, it seems as if the car's really floating on the surface instead of like really being driven hard, and it's a lot less dynamic. So it looks a lot slower at times compared to the replay cameras we have in Gran Turismo 7. But this is the part where I go quiet and I let you listen to the sound of the car itself. So overall, that for me is a big plus for Grid Legends. I feel like the sound design across the board is much stronger in Grid Legends. I remember Grid 2019 being a very good sounding game for the cars. So for me, that's where I feel like Grid Legends is definitely going to be stronger than Gran Turismo 7, and that is the one plus it has over it. Yes, the replay camera is not as good. Yes, the graphics aren't as good. But for me, overall, I feel like the sound design and the track design is a lot more sort of gritty and realistic in Grid Legends compared to Gran Turismo. So guys, that's going to be the end of the video. It was really actually quite fun to make these comparison videos. I just really enjoy making them. So let me know if you like them. Don't forget to obviously leave a like, comment and subscribe. I make this kind of content each and every day. See you later.